welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom, and in this video we're going to look at this book. So this is The Glass Mountain, Tales from Poland, by Jane, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that name. It's Polish. I can't pronounce it. It's retold by David Walser. So this is a collection of Polish fairy tales. So similar to the Brothers Grimm are what we would consider German fairy tales. These are tales from Poland, so they're kind of interesting here. So I will read off what tales we have here. So there's also a few things. There's a word by the translator, a forward by the translator. The author talks about his Polish childhood. Then it has an index of how to pronounce various Polish words. And then these are the stories. You have the fern flower, which I read. It's kind of an interesting tale about a young man who's obsessed with this magical fern and regrets it. The Krakow dragon, which is another tale about very similar to the a lot of these they're fairy tale themes that I myself is familiar with. I think the Krakow dragon is about a young man who's able to use trickery to destroy a dragon. The Frog Bride, very, very similar to the Frog Princess. In fact, I'm familiar with this story where 3 sons, father shoots arrows in different directions. The youngest finds a frog. She says, I'm a princess. And it goes from there. And yeah, she's a princess. The Miller's Daughters, which is an interesting tale of 3 sisters. One who's obsessed with dancing. One is obsessed with clothes. The other one actually decides to, her father brings in somebody to teach them to read. And so the oldest daughter goes off and is married to what's supposed to be a magical prince, turns out to be a magician. She eventually is turned into a bird because she disobeys him, goes into a room. When he leaves, he tells her not to. He goes back to the town, brings back her sister, who's obsessed with music. Same thing happens. She goes to the room. She turns into a bird. Third daughter, he brings in. She knows how to read. She goes into the room, understands what the heck it is, and by the time he comes back, she's able to turn him into a mouse. And it uses the words abracadabra, which again, it's nonsense words, but nonetheless. And then the Trumpeter of Krakow, which is about a young boy whose father is basically, he's a trumpeter. He alerts to the town to dangers. And his grandfather, and he hears his grandfather, and then its noise stops. He runs. He finds his grandmother's been killed by the a arrow from the Tartars, and he plays. He's able to use his grandfather's music to alert the town, and they're able to defend themselves. Then you have the Glass Mountain, which is again about a young man who uses intelligence and magic to get a princess who's locked in a glass castle. And I haven't really read through the last ones. You have I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, Pienkowski, the Warsaw Mermaid. So those are the last stories. This is a very interesting book. I'm always big on different cultural things. So this is a collection of, again, they're fairy tales. So if you're studying Polish history and Polish culture, or fairy tales in general, this is a great book to read. This isn't really for the younger kids. I say mid-elementary and up. You could definitely read it to the younger kids, but it's not something I would study. It's definitely, again, it's a group of fairy tales. So it's definitely, you can read it to them as entertainment, but it also has great value if you're studying as homeschoolers, looking into Polish history, looking into Polish culture, looking into fairy tales. So, which is another interesting, and mythologies. Pardon, yawning 3-year-old, almost 8 o'clock at night. It's been a busy day, as are most days with very, very active 3-year-olds who are chattering, and asking why every 5 seconds, and then periodically having meltdowns because they're 3-year-olds. So, fantastic book, really, really interesting. I love the little stories, and they're definitely, if you're familiar with fairy tales, the parents will pick stuff up. You can definitely pick up on various different themes. So again, this can go up into high school. It's a great book when you're looking at those different themes and looking at different fairy tales around the world. I really did enjoy this book. So that's really it. It's decently long, but again, it's a group of short stories. So it's about 84 pages total. So, which not long in that sense, but again, it's a good collection of fairy tales. So, but it is definitely a very great, very good book. So that's really the end of this video. If you like what you see, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I believe I'm covering Polish History Month here, so that's why this is being covered. And that's pretty common for me. I cover different cultural months. I'm also covering, I think, LGBTQ plus at some point this year, probably before this. Hard again, yawning. Vaccines have been covered this year. I'd also do a variety of this year, particularly. I'm doing a bunch of book series. So I covered the Princess Diaries. I did 2 Tamora Pierce series, the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Trying to think those are still going on. If they're not, then I'm doing and going back to another Meg Cabot series. It's more middle school, and then I'm going back to Catherine Lasky near the end of the year. I think this might be coming out in October. I'm not entirely sure. It's December, which is the other reason. Tired. It's the Christmas season. I'm busy. So that's the end of this video. If you like what you see, again, check out the rest of the channel. I do a lot of stuff. I also do film reviews and media reviews. So those come out Fridays. My books come out Mondays. 8 o'clock on the dot. I have a minimum of 2 videos every week. Normally more. So I'm very, very consistent if you're looking for that as well. So thank you, and leave a positive comment if you have one.